Yo, what's going on, everyone? The Cool Geek here, and welcome to Cool Geek Defense, a place where we geek out over martial arts and self-defense. Today we'll be discussing why Khabib Nurmagomedov beat Dustin Poirier. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let me add a few things to what I said before. This video will be divided into two sections, those being speed and abilities. Both sections will be divided into subsections, and if you want to stay until the end, you'll get to see some cool slow-mo highlights from the fight. On to the meat and potatoes of the video. The first thing that I noticed when watching Khabib versus Dustin was how fast Khabib's hands are. Now, having a fast shot wouldn't be surprising if he was known for his striking, but since he's known as a wrestler, most people won't expect him to come out and speed blitz them into next week with his punches. Like, it makes sense for a wrestler to have a fast shot, but being able to use your hands to set up a distraction, even doing some damage, even if it's only minor damage, it builds up over time, so it's a good skill to have. Now, the second thing that I noticed about Khabib in this fight with Dustin was the speed of his takedowns. This man's takedowns are unbelievably fast. I've never seen anyone shoot for a takedown so fast. The moment he sees the opening, he takes it. It looks like he's doing it almost on instinct. It's crazy. And keep in mind, force equals mass times acceleration. And if you're relative in weight to someone, and they come at you faster than anyone you've seen before in your life, then you're going to have a big problem trying to stop that person's momentum. I definitely think speed is underrated when it comes to fighting in general, but specifically grappling. You usually see people trying to be, quote, strong wrestlers, and they seem to mean that pretty literal. No one really talks about being the fast wrestler, but being the faster wrestler can help with not only generating more force, but also to make sure that your opponent can't sprawl on top of you or knee you in the face or something. Which makes sense since Dustin flat out said that he couldn't do anything about being taken down by Khabib. Okay, so after rewatching Khabib versus Dustin, I noticed that Khabib's transitions from striking to grappling are on point. Like, they're so good, it's almost unbelievable. Most wrestlers you see in the MMA slash UFC look for the overhand right into the takedown, whereas Khabib can go from blitzing you with punches, like straight punches, to taking you down in an instant. The point being that most MMA fighters have a striking mode and a grappling mode. With Khabib, they're pretty much the same thing. It's insane. On to the technique section. Khabib's pressure was insane in this fight. Whenever he's grappling, he makes sure to keep his weight on you to tire you out. It's like making his opponent way more than usual. It's like his opponent's wearing body weights, which tires them out way faster than normal. Also, if your opponent is carrying your weight, you're not carrying all of your weight, which stops you from tiring out as quickly as you normally would. So it's the equivalent of using statistic reduction on your opponent in order to make their stamina stat lower, and using statistic amplification on yourself to make your stamina stat higher, as well as making the opponent tired. The pressure also adds a layer of distraction. So when Khabib goes for a submission, Dustin will be too busy coping with the pressure to defend the takedown properly. So it's a form of a mental attack as well as a physical one. It's almost like, say, a Bleach character like Aizen pulling up to you and crushing you with this spiritual pressure to the point where you can't even focus. It's basically that. One thing that I thought was cool was that Khabib was utilizing trips that were landing the entire fight. Khabib landed trip after trip after trip, and it's disorientating to keep getting tripped. It messes up your equilibrium. I also stand that every jiu-jitsu practitioner should learn judo because of the more obscure takedowns. And if you're a submission artist and you need that takedown in order to get your submission, why not learn a style that is less utilized to catch the opponent off guard? So Khabib tripping Dustin was a good way to utilize some more obscure techniques, because it's not every day you see a person trip their opponent 3+ times in the MMA. It pretty much confirms my point, because usually when you see a takedown, it's a single leg or a double leg. You don't see their opponent tripping the other one or judo throwing him all over the canvas or anything like that. So, like I said, point proven. Now, Khabib slipped out of this one headlock that could have ended the entire fight. When I saw Khabib do that, I thought it was one of the coolest things in the UFC grappling history. Now, let's see if I can explain step by step what happened. So, first off, Dustin had Khabib in a guillotine, right? Basic, pretty basic guillotine. So, first thing Khabib does is turn onto his hip, which creates a small gap between himself and Dustin. Just enough of a gap to A, allow Khabib to breathe, and B, give him a better angle to pull his head out of that space, which he takes full advantage of by using his opponent's failed guillotine to advance his own position. Just the fact that he stayed calm in that entire situation is impressive in itself. Most less experienced fighters will panic once they're put in a choke that's sunk in that tight. But Khabib was able to keep his calm and execute his techniques, because it's one thing to know good techniques and it's another to use them in a full contact fight. That's why some more traditional martial arts like Wing Chun and karate have such a bad rap. They have good techniques, but a lot of schools either don't train full contact or they don't show the practical applications for the moves pretty much at all, which is the fault of the teacher of the style, not the style itself. The method of teaching a style matters just as much, if not more, than if the style is actually effective when executed properly. Because if you don't know how to execute a technique properly under pressure, it doesn't matter that you know the technique. Just like if you know a jab, but you can't land it under pressure, then it doesn't matter if the jab is good or not. You just can't do it because you didn't practice it under pressure. So I find it funny that Khabib spams nut cranks. Anyone who hangs out in the jiu-jitsu community, at least the Brazilian jiu-jitsu community, I don't know about the Japanese jiu-jitsu one, knows that net cranks are frowned upon by jiu-jitsu guys. And because net cranks don't make you tap from not being able to breathe or a possible break, it's just really uncomfortable and causes pain, and they make your neck feel stiff the next day if you're the target of them. But him utilizing them in a full contact fight makes sense, because not every move has to be a fight ender as long as it serves a purpose. Just like not every jab has to be a knockout punch to knock out the opponent, and not every leg kick has to chop the opponent's leg in half or drop them or something. Each net crank is causing Dustin pain and dividing his attention, which makes them a worthwhile investment, because distraction is a really big deal. It's layered mental offense. He's dividing Dustin's attention with the pressure. That's the one layer. And then the neck cranks distracting him by causing him pain. That's two whole layers of divided attention that Khabib is causing Dustin. It's pretty insane. So overall, Khabib is a really good, well-rounded fighter that has good, fast hands, fast takedowns, fast transitions, insane pressure, good trips, the ability to stay calm and execute techniques where most people wouldn't be able to, and the knowledge of when to utilize net cranks. And if you like to geek out over martial arts, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And also, I plan to do more stuff on Khabib in the future, so click the bell icon. Thanks for watching.